here it is. You can now start buying homes with cryptocurrency. That's right, guys. I'm going to break it down in the market update that's happening right now. Okay, so let's dig into our first topic, which is cryptocurrency in the real estate market. Well, if you're like me, you were probably skeptical about cryptocurrency, and I totally understand. I was too for a long time until I started playing into the game a little bit. And you can see that Bitcoin, as of the filming of this, it broke 100,000 per Bitcoin. In fact, some funny stuff that I've just seen is some people actually looking at some trading cards from years ago where you could get a free Bitcoin inside of these trading cards, and some people finding these, realizing that they're now worth over $100,000. Well, at the time of the filming, these Bitcoins are now crossing $119,000, $120,000 per Bitcoin. And there's been some people over the past several years who have invested in either Bitcoin or alternate coins and are now seeing a massive investment grow for them. And the Trump administration is trying to be pro-cryptocurrency in a big way. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. They're trying to be as pro-crypto as possible. You're seeing huge moves by BlackRock and other investment companies into cryptocurrency. And so the Trump administration has been pushing now to make this as a qualifying asset for being able to buy a house. So can you imagine now investing into Bitcoin years and years ago when you bought it for maybe, 5,000, 10,000 per Bitcoin, and now all of a sudden it's worth 100,000. You've 10x'd your investment on that. Can you now use that to buy some real estate and take that from the digital world and now bring it into the physical world and actually buy a hard asset like real estate? Well, the answer is it's going to start to be the case. Now, one of the issues that we're seeing in this business is that those mortgage lenders who are going to be looking at the cryptocurrency to see it as a qualifying asset, now they've got to actually track and source it. So just like if you were going to get a mortgage and they get to see this huge, income come into one of your accounts, they're going to ask, well, where'd you get that income? Did you pay taxes on it? And can we source it? And it's going to be very challenging for these mortgage lenders to try to source the income from these cryptocurrencies. And so that's going to be a huge play into the coming years as this starts to roll out. Now, the second thing that's happening right now is on the same pathway with mortgages is going to be, can you now use the rent that you've been paying to qualify for your mortgage? So there's going to be a whole lot. I don't even know how they're going to start rolling this out, because there's going to be some obvious examples where this seems to make sense. I've been paying my rent of $3,500 a month for the past 12 months or 18 months or whatever it is. Obviously, I can afford a mortgage payment that's the same way. I've never missed a mortgage payment, for a long time. I'm not going to miss a mortgage payment because I've always paid my rent. And so that seems to make sense. But where there might be some fraud or issues in the investor world is going to be, well, what if someone says that they've been paying this rent? Or what if they are saying that they're paying a higher rent? Or what if they've got subsidies from other people in order to do this? And so there's some challenges to roll this out. And although this sounds really good up front and could potentially be a huge benefit for home buyers in the process who have been paying their rent diligently and might not have, that income to support the house that they want, this could be a huge help. There's going to be some challenges rolling this out, just like there are going to be with the cryptocurrency. All right, so what is the Trump administration doing right now in terms of trying to lower interest rates? Well, as you've probably followed us, and if you haven't, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. We're going to hear a lot about what you can do in order to make wise investment choices. Whether you're a real estate professional or you're a home buyer or home seller, go ahead and just subscribe to the channel now. What the Trump administration is trying to do, and what we've been talking about over the last several months, is this push to try to lower interest rates. Now, why is this happening? Well, we know that Trump is trying to refinance the debt of the country. And what we mean by that is that there's $36 trillion in debt that this country owes. I mean, can you imagine owing $36 trillion? It's hard to even grasp that amount of money in our minds. But what Trump is trying to do is to lower the interest as to how much we pay annually per year on that. Think of like your credit card statement. Imagine you owed $36,000 maybe, and what you would pay on the interest for that on a credit card statement. If the government can lower that amount that we pay on interest every single month and refinance its debt, now all of a sudden it's going to put us into a much more solvent position as a country, or so the current administration is looking to say. Now, how are they going to do that? Well, what they need to do is drop the interest rates. But what keeps fighting interest rates, what has continued to fight interest rates for literally years now, it's inflation. And yes, we have been talking about it 4 years now, and the biggest way that they can try to do that is to keep interest rates high, will eventually lower interest rates. So there's a massive war that's going on right now in between the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is doing everything he can to try to get Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell out of office. They're calling for his resignation. He's literally on social media tweeting about him and saying, hey, how bad of a person he is, and he should have never been appointed, et cetera, et cetera. And it's been absolutely a huge clash of these two gentlemen going at each other because one says, no, we need to keep the current rates as to where they are because the country's not yet ready for it. We're not seeing inflation come down. While the president is saying, on the other hand, we need to drop these interest rates. Even though inflation is not there, we need to drop them so that we can refinance the debt. One is looking at a huge long-term solution for the debt, and one is saying we don't want to get back into the same position that we were in with this inflation kind of getting out of control and it bringing the cost of goods for everything up. Both seem to be worth considering. What do you think? I want to hear this in the comments below in this video. Do you think that Donald Trump is correct and that we should drop the interest rates? Or do you think that you're on the side of Jerome Powell and that we need to keep interest rates where we are so that we don't get into the position that we're in? I've got my thoughts on it, and here's what they are. I see the validity into both sides of the argument. One is we absolutely want to refinance our debt because we're paying literally billions of dollars handling this debt every single year. On the flip side, we don't want to get into a position where things are out of control. I think a more centralist view on this is probably more appropriate. Now, for home buyers and sellers, if you're in the game of buying a house, this could mean a huge opportunity if Trump gets his way and we start to see a new Federal Reserve Chairman and those rates drop quickly. Now it's a great opportunity to refinance if you bought at a higher interest rate or even start to get into the market. Sellers, here's another thing that you should consider. For every 1% that the interest rates drop, 5 million more buyers enter into the market, which could be dramatic in terms of the amount of competition that's in there. So what should you do right now? Well, if you've been waiting on the sidelines, you need to think for yourself. Should I wait to try to buy at a lower interest rates potentially in the future? We've been talking about this for years. The rates go up, they go down depending on what's happening. But if we wait for those rates to go down, now we could be facing far more competition. Not only where that might be a benefit for selling your house, but it could be more challenging on the buyer side when you have more people who are now entering into the market because those rates are down. Hey guys, if this has been helpful for you in just discussing what's happening on a national stage in the real estate market and you haven't subscribed to this channel, do so right now. If you're a realtor and you want to learn more about how to interact and talk with your clients and get some more of this information, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to sign you up for a weekly newsletter that we have. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for the next Brooke Team Market Update.